what would he be like if he didn't have Loki in his life?
Sure.
And in this case, just kind of dumber, just an idiot. Like Loki kept him, on his guard constantly.
Hey everyone, I'm sure you heard by now, Double Toasted is heading out on tour, bringing you a night of comedy, games, and some interaction with the audience out there. Get tickets by going over to doubletoasted.com or going over to X1 Entertainment. Hey, we'll see you soon. Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts.
We got to go ahead and move on to tonight's content. And like every Wednesday, which we've done for 6 Wednesdays, I want to say at this point. Yeah, at least 6 Wednesdays. Or no, more than that. No, less than that. Because they did. You guys did the review for What If when it was all back to back.
Right.
3 episodes at this point. So, well, at least for the last month, we've been reviewing Marvel's What If. And we're on episode number 7 at the moment. After this, just 2 more, and then the season is done. But this is an exciting one because everyone's wondering, where the hell is Thor? People have been asking that for quite some time. Like, yeah, we saw him in that one episode, and he got his ass killed.
Yeah.
And that was it. But we want to see that pretty face and what he's been up to right now. And I can tell you what, chat, not a goddamn thing.
Hey, he's just living his best Thor life.
He's the party prince. He's the party prince, as this episode makes known. I guess the technical name for it is what if Thor didn't grow up with Loki?
Yes.
Didn't have Loki. Again, I would just say, what if Thor was even dumber than he is in the movies? Because that's what's interesting about this. Thor in general, because he was that one character. Let's turn the clocks back a little bit when we think about Thor.
Okay.
It's like, yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. Do the eye Agamotto. Thank you, Doctor Strange from Baron Mordo. But what's interesting is that Thor is that one character that they had to readdress.
Sure.
Originally, because yes, you had the Kenneth Branagh film, the original one, then you had the second one of Dark World, and that's when they were doing the whole Shakespearean thing. Yeah. You know, and
as he was in the comics.
As he was in the comics, very much so. Speaking in these and thous and everything else in between, and I don't think that was working for a lot of people, but I think that they did better by leaning into the things I think Chris Hemsworth is very good at.
Sure.
Which is comedy. And we saw that especially in Ragnarok and then again in the subsequent Avengers films, Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, especially in Infinity War.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know that there is a contingent of fans that really liked that Shakespearean-esque Thor. They liked him when he was more serious. I see it more now than ever, but how do you feel about the transition from the Shakespearean-esque Thor to a more comedic version of the character?
I had no problem with it in the first movie because that was what I knew Thor to be.
Right.
And as opposed to people who go like, yeah, the first one, but I really liked it. The Ragnarok was inspired.
Yeah, it was very different.
Yes, and
aesthetically too.
But I didn't feel like it was a betrayal of Thor. It is like, as funny as this is, as different as this is, his character is still fitting within that. I mean, there was some humor written to him before.
Yes,
it's
of course.
just like this was just opening him up.
No, I agree with you. I feel like, especially Ragnarok, we think about it as such a funny film, but he loses so much in that movie. So much. He loses his father. He loses his homeworld.
Yeah.
Many of his people.
He loses his hammer.
Yeah, his hammer. Yes, the thing that for a lot of people defines him.
His dignity, his freedom.
Yeah. His eye for part of the movie at the very least. And yeah, I mean, he's one of the. It's funny, even though he's so comedic. And he's kind of looked as a joke. He's one of the saddest characters in the MCU.
Well, that was a thing with Endgame.
His weight gain, which at first is funny, but then it's like
it's funny. But the more it went on, I was like, this is really tragic. And I actually don't feel comfortable making jokes about this.
Yeah, because exactly. It's funny at first, but then you're like, he's his trauma. He's delved into food, which we so often don't really see at all in film. In film in general, how people deal with loss or who are mourning. Usually, it's like they're sad, or it's like drugs, or it's alcohol, and that's it. Never with food or weight gain.
Never with food.
And so that's why I really appreciate how Marvel's been able to readdress Thor and make him a really compelling character while also making him funny, but also sad. I think, and I'm very excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. But in the meantime, we get to see what would he be like if he didn't have Loki in his life?
Sure.
And in this case, just kind of dumber, just an idiot. Like Loki kept him, on his guard constantly. Like right, even like Uatu, you have Jeffrey Wright going like, yeah, this guy's dumb without Loki. This is not the Thor that you want.
I mean, I don't feel comfortable calling him dumb. He's just, somebody like, he's a himbo for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, look, he's a prince full of power with no enemy that he can't
Can
defeat.
match him. Yeah.
He's the son of the All-Father.
That's right. Yeah.
So what else is he going to do?
He's like, without Loki, all I do all day is drink and fight and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it anywhere I want. And as soon as dear old dad goes into that Odin sleep,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Earth and party my ass off.
And mom takes a break to go have a girl's 1,000 years.
Yeah, for 1,000 years. Because that's the thing. Odin sleeps for 1,000 years. I love that mom. She's just as bad. Well, not as bad, but she's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Because you know that she's around and she's drinking, she's going to enjoy herself too. I know where Thor gets it. So that is the premise. It is a very exaggerated, very comedic take
I mean, they
on
could
the
have called
original
this
Thor.
Thor's Spring Break.
It is. And I think because of that, because it's Thor's Spring Break, or it's like one of those comedies where it's about people just partying. Like, this is the last party of the year. It's one of those coming of age movies or something like that, to that degree. But we're gonna live it up one last time. That's what it is. I think that's why this is the most comedic out of all the episodes, at least so far.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a straight comedy, and listen, and that's fun and that's cool, and I like it because this episode, I think, because people were just enjoying the kind of more darker episodes recently, like with Killmonger and Tony and zombies, which even though that was going back and forth,
it really was.
Yeah, people are saying it was the darkest episode. It's like I just disagree.
I mean,
disagree.
In some aspects it is, but in others it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It's confused with its tone. And then you have the Doctor Strange episode, which is by far the darkest. And then even episode 3. Like, this one is very much this is a straight up comedy. So if you're expecting something serious where Thor is going to, fight. I mean, yeah, he fights something in this episode. We'll talk about that. But if you're expecting him at his lowest, it's not this. It's straight up a fun episode. And everyone gets it on the fun too. It's not just Thor, but even Jane Foster, which they bring back a lot of the original actors. So they bring back Kim Hemsworth, who voices Thor, and with Natalie Portman, which is so funny because she just all about wrote off the Marvel films. And I get it because she was underused. And I didn't know how to use her, I think, especially in Thor 2, where she was just there to be injured and pretty.
Right. I mean, a lot of things went wrong with that one. But, but I heard that her big problem was that there was going to be a female director who
Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins. And she was mad about her getting pushed out.
Yeah. And here she is. She's voicing Dr. Jane Foster, and she's an accomplished scientist. She's trying to warn S.H.I.E.L.D. about what she believes is an impending alien invasion or some extraterrestrial threat. At first, because even like Thor's mission in this particular episode, chat, is just the partying to have fun. Jane's is to just get that dick. She is all about that good dick. And girl, more power to you. All right, you deserve it. Because throughout this entire episode, they're like, we got to deal with this party Thor because that's the premise. He's literally destroying the world with his party. And her concern is like, but we're not going to destroy him because I want that good D. I mean, what do you think about this take on Natalie Portman's Jane Foster?
It's not all that much of a departure from
I know, because they're making googly eyes at each other in the original movie.
I mean, you look at that in that original movie. I mean, look at the two of them. Especially, I mean, look at Hemsworth.
I know. He's a god, yeah. He's beautiful.
Yeah. You don't even have to have those powers. You look at him, you're like, oh my god.
Oh, he's so dreamy and so thick.
Yeah, how could you blame her? I thought that was realistic.
At first, he's kind of really respectful towards women to a degree, except when another character comes in. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But like when his first comment to Jane is like, "Oh my God, you're like so smart because you brought me this tablet and you put all this stuff inside here. That's amazing. And then he Then after he says how smart she is, then he talks about how physically attractive she is. And you think like, oh, it must be heavy-handed. It's really not. It actually feels very natural. And because it's Hemsworth's his delivery as Thor, which is already so kind of charming, and he's kind of like a dumb Labrador in this, like he's like a golden retriever, you know, where it's like, oh, I can't be mad at him. It's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, because he's sweet, he's good natured about it.
Yes.
And you don't expect much from him, so when he does turn a phrase like that, you're like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, he's not all bad.
Yeah. I love her reaction because it's so like a guy meeting a hot chick. He'd be like, you put all this information here? You are such a genius. And first she'd be like, you dummy, I didn't. Wait, she's talking about me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I stayed up all night, but I did it for you.
Yeah, and there it is. And there it is.
Yeah.
And I think that to me, I thought that was one of the best comedic aspects of this episode. I really liked their rapport and their chemistry.
They have great chemistry together. It doesn't seem like they would.
Now, one of the things that I'm kind of curious to hear your opinion on this.
Okay.
Because I think one of my big disappointments in episode 2 of What If was the use of Howard the Duck. He was so underused in that. He was just kind of like, he's a throwaway gag.
Yeah.
And here, he kind of is that, but I'm like, are you guys doing like a truncated version of Howard the Duck the movie? Where he gets, all I'll say is, he gets in a relationship with a human woman. Not going to say who it is, Shep. I'm like, is this like a subtle reference or a wink and a nod to that film? What do you think about that?
I don't know that it's that. It's just Howard's history is that he's always preferred to be with human women.
Yeah. I can't blame him. I can't. And who he is with, I'm like, God damn it, Howard. You lucky son of a bitch. You know that's my girl. Unbelievable. I was like, well, good for I thought he was used better here. I like that gag.
He was. Well, here's the thing about it, because with that episode 2, something I think that had over this, except in the case you're talking about, like here we have tons of cameos, lots, and like one of the things I know people are excited about was Jeff Goldblum, and you can see it in there.
Yeah,
and, you know, his character of the Game Master is here, but they don't do a whole lot with it. It's almost a.
It's just him doing funny lines and stuff.
Yeah, and they have like cameos from everybody. Yeah, everybody. So they barely get to do stuff, most of them.
For this thing, it's like, okay, well, Thor didn't grow up with Loki, but that's not to say Loki is not around or anything like that. Right. And I really liked what they did with Loki in this episode.
Me too. I loved it.
Like, and it's Frost Giant Loki, where he's like, I don't know, 2 stories tall. Well, I mean, he's tall as hell.
He grew up with his family like he was supposed to.
And it's crazy because even though he's kind of immature like Thor, he's obviously a better person.
Yes.
He's healthier mentally. That's what it is. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, he is just as horny as Thor is and wants to party, but at least he's not scheming anymore.
Sure.
And I think that was just kind of cool to see Loki not do it. I mean, yeah, we kind of get to that to a degree in the Loki series, but he's still kind of scheming. But this version was just so starkly different to me, and I kind of liked seeing a Loki that was happy. Yeah. Was happy with his life.
Me too. Well, that's been the thing. It's one of the reasons I think I like episodes 2 and 7 so much. And not only are they enjoyable and funny, but they also show like, look how better things could have been for some of these people.
True.
If just, you know, a few things had happened here and there.
Yeah.
And with Loki, you go like, it's almost sad when you think about it. It's like, you know, if Odin hadn't done that thing.
Steel Kid?
Yeah. I mean, I believe it was like a treaty they had.
Yes.
But, you know, if not for that, things could have been a whole lot better for a bunch of people.
Yeah, I mean, the worst you would get is Thor just, you know, throwing an absolute banner of a party.
Yeah.
You know, instead of creating one of the MCU's greatest villains and threats who's killed so many people for years.
Right. And this whole thing, you know, of Thor throwing this party that's destroying the world.
Yeah.
I don't care. That looked like the funnest party of all time.
It does, because it's a party like, it'll stop momentarily, but then it's like, we'll go around the planet, we'll go get Chinese. And he'll take everyone with him. Yes. It's just not him and his couple of friends. He's taking everyone with him.
In the galaxy, everybody on Earth who was there at the party.
Everyone's enjoying. He'll take out all the electricity on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Yes, there might be some nuclear weapons in Russia that disappeared.
Some sacrifices.
But it's for the greater good of the party, chat. And Loki was having a blast, and it was good to see them having a relatively healthy relationship. That was a really fun aspect of that episode. Now, every party, Martin, has a pooper.
I know.
Every party has a pooper, and I thought it was pretty smart to use Captain Marvel as that party pooper, and all the fanboys go, "She's the worst. She's the absolute worst." I thought the fact that they're like, we can't fight this guy. Like everyone, fucking Nick Fury tried. And let's just say he's indisposed at the moment.
Yeah.
But then you had Colby Smulders, who returns as Agent Maria Hill.
Yeah.
And she's the interim director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the moment. And she's like, all right, the only thing we can use to fight a god is another one who is almost, if not already, a god. But some of the stuff with Captain Marvel and Thor, like their conversation, it did feel like subtle commentary, to me at the very least, of how the character of Captain Marvel has been received by some people in the fan base, where it's like, oh, come on, lighten up. Why don't you just smile a little bit? And when you don't tell this woman to smile, because she'll kick your ass. What did you think of Captain Marvel and her use in this episode? I thought she was fun, and the fight scene was great.
She's a little bit too triggered by, like, he wasn't, it wasn't that
he didn't
whole,
mean it
like,
that way.
Yeah, he didn't mean it that way. Oh, you look pretty if you smile. It's just like, fuck, we're trying to have a good time here. Come on.
Stop being a pooper the whole time, Captain Marvel. Jesus Christ.
It's funny because I was watching this and I thought, I love Brie Larson.
Me too.
I always thought she was an amazing
Great
actress, and she took a lot of heat for Captain Marvel, and I was like, the problem's not her.
It's the writer.
This character is a pain in the ass. Like, just her whole approach is to show up and go, all right, pal, shut this down.
Yeah.
And I was like, you really flew from space just to come here and be a Karen? I mean,
wow. Yeah, I could see that. Space Karen.
Look, if you got stuff going on, everybody's having a good time, and somebody's like, anytime somebody calls you pal, you already know.
It's like,
all right, this has gotten off to a bad start.
Yeah, you're already being antagonistic towards the person. They don't even know who you are.
Yes.
And you already know that there's a dynamic going on between all these other people because they know each other for years, and you just showed up out of the blue after 20 odd years, and so don't start ordering people around.
Who are you to come in and tell us this?
Yeah.
I thought Thor handled it better than I know I would have.
Well, he was the kind of guy that even after, she's, by the way, I think the action scene between them, the fight scene, and how it continues around the world and everything, very well done.
Very well done.
One of my favorite fights so far, I think, in What If, because he would just get up and go like, that was great.
Yeah, I know.
But he'd do like a little dick thing, like knocking over Stonehenge for the hell of it. I really like that dynamic between the two of them, and it sets up something where I think they're gonna fight in another upcoming movie.
Well, you know what? It's the kind of thing where they're so antagonistic, mostly her to him, where over a while, when you can see that he's kind of winning her over.
He is. She's so charming.
Yeah.
She even starts to smile.
Yeah, I know.
She's like, but he's so funny, and I just love this. Everyone's drinking, having a good time. Yeah, I like what they do with Captain Marvel. Now, this is one of the people. Brie Larson did not return to voice this version of the character.
They're getting good voice actors.
They are. Like, yeah, some people have been complaining like, oh, I can obviously tell, and I'm just like, but they're doing a good enough job anyway.
Yeah.
Like, people have been consistently complaining about the guy that does Tony Stark, even though he is that voice actor, which I don't know the name off the top of my head, but he's been voicing Tony Stark in Iron Man cartoons for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
And he has that Robert Downey Jr. cadence and delivery.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so you can tell it's not him. And
yeah. It's the performance, and I really like that. And the person they have playing Captain Marvel is the voice actress is Alexandra Daniels, and I think she does a really good job. I'm not bothered by her performance at all. And it's a really cool appearance by Captain Marvel, and it wraps up in a way where it's like a comedy.
Sure,
we got to get everything cleaned up because someone's gonna be mad at me.
I thought for sure they were gonna play the song. Was it? I think The Life of the Swivelheads. It's by the English Beat, and it's the song that plays in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when he's trying to run back home.
I know, yeah. Ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
Ba 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 ba. Yeah, that would have been perfect. It felt, and in the lights, like I said, it feels like a John Hughes movie, and it wraps up in a very comedic way. It's a very light episode, and I think most of the comedy worked for me. I know comedy's very subjective. I mean, was there stuff that didn't work for you?
There were several jokes that were just kind of throwaways with a lot of the cameo characters that I thought didn't work so much that it's like, well, that landed kind of flat. But they didn't like focus on them. This was an episode I thought was perfectly timed.
Yeah,
because so often with them, it's like, oh, just another 10, another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Expand it.
this one, it ended right at the time it should have. It wasn't so much that it didn't leave me wanting more, but I felt satisfied. Like I didn't, like it wasn't too much and it wasn't not enough.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Just right. No, I agree with you. I was really entertained by it, and yeah, it made me aside from a couple of jokes that maybe fell flat, but it moved fast enough where I was already laughing at the next thing they were doing. So, yeah, I was very impressed. This is definitely one of my favorites so far. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention that we didn't cover that I think like this was a good moment, or like another character that was used or something?
Okay, is it just me, or does every episode of What If end where it looks like, well, it's the end of the world anyway?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Because you're like, it's a comedy, we're all having fun, and then it's like
at the very end,
this horrifying new threat on the horizon. And even Uatu's like, he's like, wait, what? He's surprised. He couldn't believe what was happening. I don't want to say exactly what it is.
No, I'm not gonna say what it is.
But
it just seems like every one of them just ends with,
and it's over.
Yeah. Thought you had a good. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, but this next, tune in tomorrow and everyone dies.
Yeah. It's I think because I think a lot of these episodes that we've been seeing are leading up to a big event, because we see in the trailers all these people are interacting with each other. Party Thor, Evil Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, T'Challa, Killmonger, Black Panther, and some other people, Captain Carter. And I think there's going to be a thing where, okay, we got to work together to save our universes, and they create like the multiverse Avengers. That's what I think of what we're leading to, because the threat that we see on the horizon is something that's familiar, but it's like it's another, what if this person had all these things? And it's like, holy shit. And they were able to evolve. That's all I'll say, but I thought it was really, really cool. And it'll give people a chance to see this character after they were kind of, not used enough, in my opinion.
Sure.
That's all I'll say. So it's exciting. Yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Mark really enjoyed this episode. We recommend checking it out right now as soon as possible. But so much fun.